Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads out there? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
I'm all right.
You all right today?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good? Good. Hey, everybody out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Sorry we're a little late on this episode, and here is the reason why. Mr. Weedman got COVID.
Ew.
And was out for like 8 days. Bad. I still worked from home, but let's go into it. I tested positive last Tuesday, and it was lockdown for Mr. Weedman. Got quarantined to the basement, and masks were on, and gloves were on, and trying to keep Mrs. Weedman safe. And Mrs. Weedman didn't get COVID.
Yay.
Yay, Mrs. Weedman didn't get COVID, but I did, and it was misery. I was pretty beat up. I lost a lot of weight, didn't have any appetite, had the sweats, had the chills, had the body aches, had the mucus going down the throat the whole time. No stuffed up nose, though. I can breathe, and that's great. So, but yes, I got it pretty bad. I was felt like shit. Let's just put it that way. But I'm going to say this. I did not take any medication at all. In the morning, when I got up, which I do every morning, though, I drank my warm lemon water with ginger and honey. And I drank that every morning, a glass, and then I make an elixir smoothie. Mrs. Weedman makes fun of me, but I call it the elixir smoothie, and I put a bunch of like nutrients and a bunch of minerals and a bunch of herbs and a bunch of vitamins and stuff to boost your immune system and antioxidants and everything like that. So that was my morning routine. I didn't smoke any cannabis for 10 days, so this is going to be my first day of smoking cannabis, and I'm super stoked because I missed it. But I did eat edibles every evening, like around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, before I went up to bed, about an hour or two before I went up to bed. And it's the only thing that took the body aches away. It took the inflammation away out of my lungs, so I was able to breathe pretty good. And it also helped me sleep. It did not take the fever away. It did not take the body chills away. But it did take the aches away and the pains away. And I will forever be thankful for two things. Mrs. Weedman, for taking care of me.
Just call me Nurse Weedman.
Nurse Weed Woman. Nurse Weedman.
Not really a good nurse.
You did take good care of me, though.
Well,
Thank you. Especially the first 4 days where it was like you had to put food by the door and I had to go scoop it up. And
it was not like that.
It was like that
you were
for
in
the first
prison.
4 days. It was for me.
Go back in your space.
For me, it was. And I will tell you in a reason why. And I will.
Mr. Weedman was sad
Yes.
and lonely.
And I will say thank you to Cannabis for keeping me sane and keeping me rested and keeping me sleeping and keeping me feeling decently when I did use you. And I did pop a little 2.5 milligrams here and there during the day when I needed it, just to help me get through the day. And it was rough. But so thank you, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Weed. And now to go into how lonely I was during COVID. I'm a very extroverted person, as Mrs. Weedman knows, and a lot of my friends and family know, and all of you around the world probably feel that I am. And as soon as that door of the basement shut on me, and I felt like alone. And it was sad because I need people in my life, and the one person who I want to be around most of the time, or all of the time, or a lot of the times, is Mrs. Weedman. And not being able to sit at the dinner table with her and have dinner every night. Not being able to come out of the basement and have conversations without a mask on and be able to go up to her and give her a hug or a kiss or just to touch her skin, to give her, like, to touch her shoulders or just to feel her hand. The loss of that alone, like, drove me nuts for 10 days. And it was hard on me. And I did a lot of thinking and a lot of reading and while I worked too, but I did a lot of soul searching, I guess, for those 10 days and what kind of better person I can become, knowing that I was alone and I can contaminate people. And it was hard. And Mrs. Weedman said I was being dramatic, but to me, it was hard. And it was like, I'm alone. And yeah, I could talk to people on the phone, and yeah, I can play video games, and yeah, I could talk to people on Discord or any of that shit, but it's not the same. And I was alone. And no one, and if any of you had COVID out there, and I'm sure there's some of you that have, and maybe felt the way I felt, and it was upsetting. And for a couple of nights, I was like, this sucks. This really sucks. and it was sad. And thank you, Mrs. Weedman, for putting up with me and my loneliness. She came downstairs on day 10 when I took the test and it came back negative, and I touched her hand. I was like, whoa. And I felt chills go through my arm and through my back, and the hairs on the back of my back stood up. And I was like, man, thanks, Mrs. Weedman, for just letting me touch your hand, because I missed that I don't know, that sensation of feeling for a minute.
Poor Mr. Weedman. He was so sad.
I was very lonely and somber.
So I determined that Mr. Weedman is so healthy because I think he couldn't handle not being.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know me.
Yeah. He was a good patient, but he was a sad patient. Yeah.
It was sad.
Sorry,
I didn't
Mr.
like being
Weedman.
alone, especially with my favorite person in the whole world.
And I didn't take it very seriously. At first, I thought he was kind of being sarcastic, and I was like, laughing about it, like, oh, you're silly. And then he was like really sad.
Yeah, not to be able to even just to go out, like in the world, to like go to the store, or to be able to go associate with fellow people out there.
So I guess you could empathize with people who have long-term health issues.
Yeah.
You understand.
I guess this was short-term.
How lonely it feels.
Yeah, I feel bad for all you out there that have ailments that stops you from doing the things you want to do, and I pray for you all out there. And I know mine ended in 10 days, and I'm feeling healthier now and better, and still a little chest congestion, but the fatigue is finally gone. That was the worst part, having no energy. And I just want to say, thank you again, Mrs. Weedman. And,
Sure.
And thank you, weed.
Thank you, weed. Yay, weed.
Why don't you smoke?
I'm gonna. What am I smoking?
We're smoking the purple gelato, and we're still not sharing. She's smoking out of her own right now. I'm smoking out of my own for at least another 4 more days until we hit the 14-day mark. So then we can start sharing stuff again, and maybe I'll get a nice big fat smooch.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
We're going to start the show while Mrs. Weedman smokes. I'm going to go into this article, then I'll smoke, and then she can talk to you guys too. So, bud with equal amounts of CBD and THC is less likely to cause anxiety, study finds. Cannabis flower with the equal balance of CBD and THC is less likely to cause anxiety, paranoia, or other adverse effects, according to a new study published in the Addiction Biology Journal. Research from the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus set out to test claims that high CBD cannabis could help mitigate some of the adverse effects occasionally associated with weed. For the study, researchers recruited 159 regular cannabis users and asked them to smoke one of 3 different strains of weed. One of those cultivars was THC dominant with 24% THC and 1% CBD. One had a fairly equal balance of 10% THC to 9% of CBD, and the third had 23% CBD and only 1% THC. The ongoing federal prohibition of cannabis makes it excessively difficult for institutions to access high-quality cannabis for research, although that may change soon. To get around these restrictions at the same time of the study, the researchers asked subjects to smoke up at their own homes. Using a mobile pharmacology lab, research took blood samples from the participants right before they lit up and took a second sample 1 hour after they got high. During the second visit to the mobile lab, subjects were asked to relate the subjective experiences they felt after getting blazed. Those who smoked the 1-to-1 THC to CBD blended reportedly significantly fewer negative effects, including anxiety and paranoia. Then the subjects who hit the high THC bud, and perhaps most interestingly, the subjects who smoked the equal ratio strain also had lower THC levels in their blood after smoking. But despite the decrease in THC plasma levels, these participants reported feeling just as pleasantly stoned as those who smoked the THC dominant strain. Like I've always said, I've gotten high just off of 14% as I've gotten high off of 36%. This is one of the first studies to examine the different effects of various THC to CBD ratios using cultivars that are widely available in the state-regulated markets. The research wrote, individuals using a THC plus CBD cultivar had a significantly lower plasma THC concentrations and reported less paranoia and anxiety, while also reporting similar positive mood effects as compared to individuals using only THC. Several previous studies have found that CBD can reduce symptoms of psychosis, possibly by reducing activity in specific areas of the brain. These studies have led researchers to speculate that cannabis strains that are high in CBD may actually mitigate anxiety, paranoia, and other negative feelings that some cannabis users experience. If true, these findings imply that cannabis strains with equal balances of critical cannabinoids could be ideal for a wider variety of medical cannabis patients. The authors of the present study suggest that the harm reduction implication of these findings is that cannabis cultivars containing CBD may result in a less overall exposure to THC and I'm not even high yet. Substantially less potential to harm, particularly the respect of the psychosymmetric effects of THC. So I've talked about the balance of the two, especially when you're starting out with ratios. I've talked about this, like start low, go slow, start with a higher CBD, lower THC if you're new to smoking cannabis, or if you do feel anxiety, do a higher ratio of CBD versus THC. You're still going to get the good body high. You'll still get a little bit of the mind effects, but it's not going to be so intense. So look at things when you're finding out, when you're just starting out, or even if you've smoked for a long time and you don't want to get the head high so much, go for a higher CBD strain or go for a 1-to-1 balance. So I think it's a great article. More tests to come, and as more schools be able to do this once it goes federally legal, we can get some more and more data, however you say it out there, to help with this. So, Mrs. Weedman?
Yeah.
Talk about inflammation, which I had.
Yeah.
I had some inflammation. I'm going to smoke some of this purple gelato.
That's tasty.
Isn't it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
And you hadn't smoked either because you weren't smoking either because I wasn't smoking.
Right.
And you were eating edibles too. So this is my first time smoking in 10 days. I'm going to be baked.
Mine too. I was going to go for a second hit and I was like, nah, we'll just stick with one for now.
Yeah. So go ahead, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah.
I'm going to smoke.
All right, I've got an article here on inflammation and cannabis. Cannabis works wonders for chronic inflammation, but we are now just understanding why. Regardless of how anyone feels about inflammation or the amount of pain it comes with, it remains an unavoidable, healthy response that keeps us alive. From bruising a finger to after effects of cancer treatments, inflammation is the body's automatic response to every physical condition. There are times when inflammation can lead to extreme pain and adverse conditions due to a dysfunctional effect on the immune system. At this point, drugs are needed to reduce pain and speed up healing. Recent studies show that cannabis could be an essential anti-inflammatory agent. Some medications have been tested and proven over the years to be effective against debilitating and extremely painful inflammation. However, better options are being sought for managing chronic conditions because most potent anti-inflammatory medications tend to have adverse side effects when used for long periods. This article investigates the potential of cannabis to serve as a solution for chronic inflammation and autoimmune disorders. We investigated the relationship between cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system, and inflammation disorders. You can consider inflammation to be the body's way of fighting and protecting itself against harm. In this case, harm could mean an infection or injury within or outside of the body. For instance, when you have an injury, the first thing you notice is that the area affected reddens and swells. This reaction is due to the immune system sending out a group of white blood cells to contain the bleeding and fight off any form of infection. Within the body, the same reaction occurs around the vital organs and also in the blood vessels. Put simply, the immune system causes any part of the body at risk of being infected to be inflamed. Some have touted inflammation as being a horrible thing. In contrast, it is a really good reaction. It only becomes bad when it is identified to be pathological. According to Harvard Health, inflammation can be broadly grouped as acute inflammation and chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation occurs as a response to an injury or illness, and it gets resolved in a matter of days, while chronic inflammation is long-lasting and it occurs due to an ongoing autoimmune dysfunction or chronic ailment. The symptoms of inflammation can be easily identified, mainly when it is localized to one part of the body. Some symptoms may include swelling, redness, heightened sensitivity, headache, mood disorders, and fatigue. Most of the time, acute inflammation is nothing to worry about. However, chronic inflammation can be extremely dangerous. Medication is necessary to limit the extent of the inflammation, kickstart healing, and return the body to its normal state. Antacids are sometimes used to provide relief for inflammation affecting the inside of the body, or other anti-inflammatory drugs can be purchased over the counter or with a prescription from a doctor. Some of these drugs include nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, like Tylenol, and steroids. Cannabis is composed of cannabinoids, which have therapeutic benefits for the human system. Their impact on inflammation has been researched in highly respected institutions and labs, and the established theory is that cannabis has anti-inflammatory properties that are linked to the endocannabinoid system. CB1 and CB2 are the primary receptors found in the endocannabinoid system network. These receptors primarily respond to naturally occurring endocannabinoids in the body. The stimulation quickens resolution to reduce inflammation. If you're considering any sort of cannabis consumption to combat inflammation, make sure you do some research before moving forward. CBD products for inflammation are often used to manage conditions in non-legal cannabis states. CBD is a non-psychotropic cannabinoid responsible for treating medical conditions. It is the main component in medical purpose cannabis products. When ingested, CBD interacts with the endocannabinoid system and inhibits the production of FAAH, which is a compound that breaks down anandamide. Anandamide is a fatty acid neurotransmitter and the first endocannabinoid to be discovered. This inhibition extends the potency of anandamide, which is helpful for inflammation. Pain is the most common symptom of chronic inflammation, and it sometimes is characterized by a burning sensation in the affected area. Cannabis helps control inflammation, which reduces pain and has shown no visible side effects in people who have used it. But this doesn't excuse the fact that more research is definitely needed before a person should begin using cannabis as a medication for inflammation. The root cause of the inflammation has to be traced. In some cases, it results from cancer, disease treatments, etc. Researchers say some people are born with a dysfunctional immune system and, as such, experience inflammation. The full scope of the relationship between cannabis and inflammation is yet to be fully discovered. The endocannabinoid system plays a significant part in treating inflammation in acute and chronic patients. The interaction between the two is what is currently unclear. Nevertheless, the future of anti-inflammatory medication looks bright, and cannabis-based drugs could make it brighter. How many times did I say the word inflammation?
Say it one more time.
And I couldn't even say it anymore. Like it wasn't even coming out right. It's like every sentence in that article, inflammation, 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 inflammation. In case you were wondering, that was an article about inflammation.
Well, good. I had a lot of inflammation in my lungs, and cannabis helped me. Thank you, cannabis.
Go weed.
Go weed. Legalized cannabis has changed the American workplace. Let's find out how. As many Americans begin their return to office life, how cannabis fits into the equation again comes to a head. The same can be said for companies working in the digital workplace. In either case, sources say it's high time to address employees' pot use if they haven't already. Cecil von Munzos, president of U.S. Executive Search and Consulting, told Benzinga that it's never wise to keep workplace policy static. They must reflect the broader changing laws and to some degree that what is in the cultural ethos, he said. Benzinga spoke to the source, in and out of the cannabis sector, to better understand how cannabis fits into the U.S. workplace. Much like cannabis itself, rules vary by state. In many cases, the employer has the final say on the policy. Similar laws exist in major adult use and medical cannabis marketplaces, including Colorado and Florida. The scenario allows each company to craft its own rules and protocols, a task many remain in the dark on. I'm not going to lie, I had to look up the regulations in governing medical and adult use cannabis during working and non-working hours, said James Eisner, CSO of Santa Packaging, a company that works across Colorado, California, and Washington State. He added that the subject is not nuanced issue that companies contend with in and out of cannabis. Brian J. Driscoll, lawyer and HR consultant, said that depending on the state, companies may be able to go so far by restricting cannabis use of off hours, which what people do at home, and I've said this, should be able to do what they want to do at home. On the other end, some states may prohibit companies from asking if an employee has their medical card. Great. He added that clients in conservative states tend to avoid the issue for now. In more progressive states, where you've implemented policies compliant with state law in keeping with company culture and safety. Analysis from California Normal noted that numerous U.S. cities and states have some form of workplace anti-discrimination laws in place for cannabis patients. States include Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia. I just made Mrs. Weedman loop her head 5 times around. Said that pretty quick, though.
Yeah.
Workplace consumption rules vary in cannabis sector. Most companies ban workday consumption, citing law and other company opinions as prime reasons. The rule applies to numerous cannabis careers and virtually every non-pot venture. Companies that are opposed cite worries that, like decreased productivity and heavy machinery safety use issues. The same sentiment is often shared among leading cannabis brands. In our experience, the cannabis industry is not much different from most other industries that prohibit drug or alcohol use during working hours, said Leslie Bernard, founder and CEO of cannabis staffing agency from Cannabis Team. She added that most clients do not have policies regarding off-hour use. Cannabis Team does not allow cannabis use during work, though accept legal off-hours use and does not drug test. Good for them. The decision is influenced by a desire to provide a safe place to work and also to comply with state and local laws and regulations, said Juicy EVP Nicole Upshaw. Even businesses that are not highly regulated have some sort of policy around the use of intoxicants while at work, said Leslie Lamard, C3's VP of People and Culture. Others push back on workday bans, instead citing employees' performance as the metric. Everyone's relationship with and the reaction to cannabis is different, and that needs to be taken into account, said Sana's Eacher, noting that cannabis may help some patients relieve medical symptoms and improve focus. There is a lot to consider in 2022. Most say employers should tailor workplace cannabis use to the company job functions in the state. Both U.S. Executive Munoz and Hemp Staff CEO James Yagato suggested reflecting workplace smoking and alcohol rules. Yagaglio advises companies that use drug tests to pivot to workplace bans like alcohol. Far more liberal companies, we see it leaning towards cigarettes, where employees are allowed to take cannabis smoke breaks and consume during the lunch hour. Yeah,
True.
Lunch weed smoke breaks. Great. Hemp Staff allows workday consumption and assesses cases based on employee performance. However, Munoz noted that laws within smoke-free states like California and Connecticut are increasing restrictions banning the ability to smoke in certain areas. She added that remote working might further complicate issues as employees move to states where cannabis is legal while retaining their current job in illegal markets. Vank's VP of Partnerships, Kelsa Applebaum, said she's less concerned with on-site consumption and more focused on restrictive hiring policies like drug testing and prior offense flagging. We all have the advocate to better policy and education in the markets we represent so that cannabis is no longer considered taboo, but instead normalized. Driscoll, meanwhile, recommends consulting with team leadership to ensure that policies align with state laws and company culture. Adding the dual focus can lead to competing interests, but with the right approach, companies can implement policies appropriate for them and their employees while ensuring compliance with their state laws. I think that's great what some of these companies are doing. I worked for a company that was very cannabis 420 friendly. You were able, as long as you weren't on the property, you can go to the parking lot or out on the sidewalk and smoke, and they were cool with it, as long as you didn't smoke in the building, which was awesome. So,
and anybody that was on the manufacturing lot, they couldn't in the manufacturing area.
They smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as, like I said, you didn't smoke on site. So no harm, no foul.
Right.
Yeah. And most of those people work better on cannabis anyway. So good article. We sometimes play the touristy people. Even though we try not to act like tourists, we like to go where the locals go and hang out. We're not big onto seeing all the tourist sites and all that stuff. We like to me, it's more personalized when I go to a city and I go where the locals hang out at, the dive bars, the places that people have been going to for like 50 years and the family communities and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff when we go places. Yeah, we go see one or two things, but I like to go see like what no one else really wants to go see. And I like going and hang out with the locals. So what is weed tourism going to look like, though, this year?
Well, it is apparently the up-and-coming market. This article is about weed tourism in 2022 and beyond. Whether it's a new market or an old one continuing to push its limits with recreational cannabis, weed tourism does not plan to slow down anytime soon. As leisure travel continues to recover and countries lift their travel bans and COVID-19 restrictions one by one, many tourist destinations are eagerly awaiting new visitors. No matter how luxurious or sought after the destination, it seems every locale is eager to find new ways to attract business. In 2022, however, there is something new in the air that has begun to inspire a new wave of tourism. One of the latest trending motivators in destination travel is, putting it bluntly, weed. In 2020, a report found that almost 30% of vacationing adults worldwide, I thought that was pretty cool, 30%, were looking for something involving cannabis on their holiday.
Hell yeah. We do.
This report found that 18% of Americans overall feel this way as well. The numbers in the report found these percentages went up even higher in the younger millennial demographic, which is a group that often favors leisure travel. While many facets of the travel industry struggled to tread throughout the pandemic, recreational cannabis sales continued to grow, and more areas of the world legalized recreational cannabis. By the end of 2020, Arizona, New Jersey, and South Dakota all legalized recreational cannabis use, with Connecticut, New Mexico, New York, and Virginia passing initiatives 1 year later, according to U.S. News. That makes a total of 18 states, Washington, D.C., and Guam, that have an added draw for potential tourism. Even states with established tourism are continuing to ramp up their efforts in order to stay at the top of the heap. California has been a leader in cannabis tourism since its inception and continues to reinvent itself to maintain its status as a pot paradise. Take West Hollywood, for example, where there are potential plans to bring an Amsterdam-like vibe to the posh LA neighborhood. Pot cafes, restaurants, lounges, and even galleries may have a WeHo home with the potential to draw millions of tourists and their money, according to CBS LA. Weed tourism has proven to be so lucrative that some businesses are already establishing roots in some states that have not even yet legalized recreational cannabis. In Florida, which currently only allows medical cannabis use, the cannabis company Trulieve has already opened dispensaries 2 to 3 times the typical size near key tourist attractions. Like, all right, kids, after we go to Disney, we're going to the pot shop.
Hell yeah.
All right, imagine like a Disneyland of pot. What if there was like a whole experience?
I'm sure it'll happen one day. Small little.
Could you
park.
imagine?
I'm sure
it's like a special ticket within like one of the big parks, and it's all like adult, 18 and older, or whatever the state law is, 21 and older, cannabis friendly, and
Man,
you like experience like lit up leaves that are huge, like. Whoa.
I think it'd be great.
And rides,
like
trippy
and
rides.
Trippy rides would be dope. And then there's dispensaries all throughout the whole park where you could buy.
I would want like
You could buy friggin' pre-rolls and edibles and have the best time of your life.
What if there was like a part of it where it was like you lay it on sand, but it wasn't really sand, but it felt like sand, and you could hear the waves and the sun beaming over you, and you were like transported to a beach.
Somebody can afford it.
Oh, it's our
Get
Florida.
It done.
You don't need to be transported. All right, we need that here in Chicago.
Yeah, there you go. 100%.
Anyway, I'm getting off the topic. Well, not really off the topic, just off my article onto a tangent. Go figure. Where am I? We did that. Okay. Closed borders and travel bans did not stop cannabis legalization from occurring elsewhere in the globe as well. Recently, the island of Malta became the first Yes, go Malta. Became the first European country to legalize recreational weed. America's closest neighbor to the south, Mexico, is already one of the most popular international leisure destinations for Americans. With recreational cannabis legalization on the horizon, it looks...
Not soon enough. We've been talking about that for 2 years now.
It looks like it might even get more popular, especially among cannabis enthusiasts. Mexico is one country on the road to legalization, where cannabis-centric spas or yoga centers could be potential tourist attractions, wrote Forbes. Whether it's a new market or an old one, continuing to push its limits with recreational cannabis, weed tourism does not plan to slow down anytime soon. With more states and countries pushing for legalization in the coming years, there will likely be further growth and competition within this blossoming market. What was once a quaint concept found only in places like remote Dutch cafes is now a global enterprise, so buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I can't wait for the U.S. to get their act together and get some really cool shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Here's some things to know. As the House of Representatives passed cannabis banking legislation for the fucking 6th time, Representative Ed Perlmutter, Democrat Colorado, told Marijuana Moment he's in discussions with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Cory Booker about how to add more equity provisions to get them to a place where a Safe Banking Act can pass the Senate. Yeah, man, they got to do something. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer reveled at the press conference that he plans to formally file his federal cannabis legalization bill in April, and he's getting some other people on board to help him out with this. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler also discussed a separate cannabis legalization legislation at the event. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers vetoed a bill to increase penalties for cannabis extraction. His veto message calls for legal legislation instead and highlights how criminalization has a racially disproportionate impact. And they're not even legal up there yet, and they're talking about penalties for extraction. I mean, that would screw everything up if they do go legal in this extraction method. So I think the governor was kind of smart doing that. A Seattle doctor filed a petition asking the Drug Enforcement Administration to reschedule psilocybin. Former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney slammed his home state South Carolina Republican Party in the new opt over its opposition to the popular GOP-led medical cannabis bill. Some federal stuff. The Internal Revenue Service posted a memo clarifying that cannabis businesses are not eligible for the work opportunity tax credit due to 280E. Representative Nancy Mace, Republican South Carolina, said Democrats committed to holding a hearing on her cannabis legalization bill, added that the U.S. has the best cannabis of the world. Representative David Joyce, Republican Ohio, tweeted, we're at a critical inflection point with cannabis policy. Sensible bipartisan bills take tangible steps toward the change Americans have called for and create opportunities for both chambers parties to get on board. It's time to #pass progress. Representative Marilyn Strickland spoke about her support for cannabis banking legalization or legislation. Representative Mark Pocan tweeted, cannabis should be legalized. RT if you agree. The Senate cannabis banking bill got a new co-sponsor for a total of 41. The House bill to decriminalize drugs got a new co-sponsor for a total of 17. The House bill to facilitate cannabis expungements got a new co-sponsor for a total of 4. Some other stuff in states. Ohio, Democratic gubernatorial candidate John Cranley, currently Cincinnati's mayor, tweeted, it's 2022. It's time to #legalize it. If we legalize cannabis and invest the tax revenue back into our committees, we can create thousands of good-paying jobs across Ohio. It's just common sense. Florida Democrat governor candidate Charlie Crist, currently a congressman, tweeted, Happy National Hemp Day. As Florida governor of Florida, I will legalize cannabis. Virginia Senate President pro tempore tweeted about her bill on resentences for peoples with past cannabis convictions, saying, at Governor VA, are you going to lift a finger to help? Excuse me, everybody. The New Mexico Senate Tax, Business, and Transportation Committee approved a bill to increase the number of cannabis plants that can be grown by small cultivation businesses and make other cannabis rule changes. South Dakota Senate Local Government Committee approved a bill to unzone municipalities to prohibit medical cannabis businesses from being located in sensitive and land use areas. Still got a little bit of COVID. Sorry, everybody. Still got a little bit of that phlegm in the throat. Cannabis House Democrats tweeted, really? Mississippi legalized medical cannabis before Kansas? Tell your #KSLeg isolator you want hearings. Maryland's House Judiciary Committee chairman authored an op-ed about his new cannabis legalization bill. Oklahoma lawmakers are considering several bills to amend medical cannabis rules. Meanwhile, officials sent $38.5 million to medical cannabis tax revenue to schools. Good for them. An Indiana representative tweeted, medical cannabis is far safer than opioids. Pennsylvania regulators issued a mandatory recall of medical cannabis products due to additives not approved by the Drug Administration. Yeah, man, there's a lot. I got an article, a little bit more of an article I'm going to talk about on that. The Maine Bureau of Financial Institutions is stepping up scrutiny of data on cannabis businesses' bank accounts. Florida regulators filed updated hemp extract rules, and in Washington, state regulators are considering changes to the rules for those use of pesticides in cannabis. And in Vermont, regulators will discuss cannabis issues next Monday. Good for them. McConnell, blast cannabis banking House bill. They tried to put it into this, they're calling it a China bill. I don't know. But he called it a poison pill. Okay. McConnell, people of Kentucky, will you just please vote this guy out? I'm just done with them not, when it comes to cannabis, man. It's just brutal. These old timers that have been in Congress for forever, we just need, if they're not with it, you guys need to vote them out. So just what he's calling a poison pill, I think he's poison and maybe should take the pill. A cannabis monopoly asteroid is coming. If you think 2 or 3 powerful companies owning and controlling the sales of all regulated cannabis sounds like a good thing, don't listen, okay? So this is what the article says. But if the thought of a market controlled by Marijuana Amazon or Canna Uber or Weediverse is unsettling to you, let's introduce you to a valuable concept, antitrust laws. What are antitrust laws and why should we care? In short, when we lived in a different but similar Gilded Age, when oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller rocked a top hat and opposed to Jeff Bezos wearing a space helmet on his rocket joyrides, our government was pressured to address rising inequality by creating laws to prevent monopolies. Corporate influences had led to these laws being scaled back in practice, but the basic objective of antitrust laws remains to protect the process of competition for the benefit of consumers. As the power grab for control of the multi-billion-dollar industry heats up, consumers and patients need antitrust protection. By applying the concept of antitrust law to all federal cannabis reform, we can avoid the creation of national monopolies before it's too late and create a diverse and fair cannabis market. Instead, you got companies like Big Tobacco, alcohol, making significant investments in cannabis, creating their own front groups, or even larger conglomerates are openly expressing their interest in getting into the industry once the product is federally legal. So, there's a lot more to this article, but just that alone, for all you out there, if you want this to be regulated so much and in corporations to take this over, you're fooling yourselves. Because then you're just going to get shit weed. And you're just going to have to just deal with it. And then there's the black market. Or let's just not call it the black market. Let's call it the traditional market. Because it's basically what it is. The traditional market is the black market. Everything we're seeing now is all new. And to me, you're fucking it up. So the traditional market was a straightforward thing. You got to know your plug. He got you what you needed. You bought it and you went home and you smoked it with your friends or by yourself. Simple as that. Today, it is just growing corporately so fast. Regulations are going to get even worse. And I don't agree with a lot of it. So I agree with that article. Get ready. And if we're not smart cannabis community in the United States, we're going to be fucked in about 10 years. So if you want good quality cannabis, if you want to know your local grower, if you want to know your local dispensary, get to know them. Get on their handles, their social media handles. Talk to them. Ask questions, man. They want to hear from you, you know? So think about that. It'll end up just being a 1-800 number you have to fucking call and saying, press this button to complaints. Press this button if you want to place an order. Press this button if you want to do this. Press this button if you want to do that. That's what's going to happen. And you're never going to be able to talk to anybody. Good luck. I'm going to keep on growing my own. Michigan breaks another pot sales record, boosting 2021's total sales of $1.8 billion. Damn. Montana recreational sales exceeded $12.8 million in their first month. Good for you, Montana. And they only have a few dispensaries there, too. That's crazy. Nearly 1 in 10 new Missouri jobs came from medical cannabis industry in 2021. Trade Group finds out. Good for that. Minnesota, medical cannabis dispensaries to begin selling flower. Yay! Yay! Yay, Minnesota. About fucking time. I have something I want to play for you because I'm super excited about this, and some of you may remember this movie and some of you may not, but I'm really proud of this state, and I'm going to let Chevy Chase tell you all about it.
That's the Mississippi, the mighty Mississippi. The old miss, the old man. Deep river, my home is over Jordan.
If you don't know that movie, it's from Vacation with Chevy Chase. So Mississippi, the governor signs the medical cannabis legalization bill into law. I know they got some stuff to work out still, but good for you. MISSISSIPPI, the old miss. Good for you guys. Hawaii medical cannabis industry reports slumping sales in recent years. Yeah, because you haven't legalized it yet, and your laws for medical is just garbage. So what do you expect? People are going to the traditional market again. So fix it. Pennsylvania issues that mandatory recall for hundreds of cannabis products. This was big, man. There is so many products on here listed by companies that, like, corporate cannabis companies that are on here. I'm not going to mention any names. You can read the article by going to New Cannabis Ventures, and it's Pennsylvania issues mandatory recall for hundreds of cannabis products. So if you live in Pennsylvania, take a look at that article. I'm sure you probably heard about it, but Jesus. I did this. Leafly started trading shares on Monday. And I bought some shares in them because I like Leafly. Their shares were pretty cheap. I bought about 200 shares. Pretty good. We'll see. It already went up 40 cents. So good for you, Leafly. Congratulations. I'm not telling you to buy it. Don't take my advice. I just did it because that's just my money. So here's something that's so fucking shitty and so bad that I want to punch this sheriff in the face.
Oh, my.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why. A California sheriff remains free to rob armored cars carrying money from state-licensed cannabis businesses. And it went to court, and the federal judge declined to issue a temporary restraining order, saying the evidence of the legal violations is insufficient at this point. Do you realize that if they go take that money out of the armored car and they turn it in, that county can get 80% of that money back? The police station can get 80%. So if they rob $2 million, they can get 80% of that money back.
Jeez.
In their pockets to use how they see fit for the police force. I think it's bullshit, and I believe that judge doesn't care about cannabis and businesses that are putting tax dollars back into the community. That money could be tax dollars too, that now the police department put back in their pocket. You don't know what they did with it. You don't know if a couple $100,000 went in each one of their fucking pockets. It's bullshit. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies stopped in empty real vans 3 times in November, December, and January. They seized cash during 2 of those stops, making off with a total of $1 million, which was transferred to the FBI so the Justice Department could pursue forfeiture under the federal law. Fuck you. What is this dude's name? I don't even know. The sheriff. So it's San Bernardino County. Oh, here it is. Shannon Dickus. Yeah, you're a dick. So I'm going to tell you right now, you're fucked up for doing that for people, hardworking people who are trying to make a living, and you're stealing their money, and also you're stealing tax dollars that could be put back in the schools. So you sheriff should be fucking hung up like a fucking bear and whipped with cannabis plants, you asshole. Here's another thing. I'm hot right now.
Yeah, you are.
Here's another thing. And I'm going to say this, and I don't know if it's 100% true or not, okay? So, but here's what I've read and been, like I said, I had 10 days to do a lot of stuff. The Biden administration is not giving away crack pipes. This is from Forbes, but a lot of people said he was. They're giving away kits for people who use hard drugs. Stuff like with HIV, to help prevent HIV, cleaning kits, but they were saying they were going to put crack pipes in there. I don't know if that's true or not. All I know is I'm fine with them giving away the kits, but they're going to give billions of dollars to this, which is fine to help people, but you're not fixing the problem. And fucking, if you're going to do this and give billions of dollars away to people using heroin and crack and not helping the situation by legalizing cannabis federally in states to get them off the opioids, to get them off crack pipes, to get them off heroin, because we've read articles that it does help. And if you're not doing that and you rather give them a kit, you're doing something socially injustice to people who are addicted to crack, heroin, and methamphetamines and all the hard drugs out there. You're not doing anything to help the situation. That's not helping somebody by giving them a fucking kit so they can smoke more. You're not helping the situation. So for you, Biden and the administration and all you people in Senate and Congress out there, by doing this, you're fucking people out there by not helping the situation, by showing them cannabis to get them off that fucking shit that takes them into harm, their families into harm, and it hurts people of the communities. Okay? It's fucked up. And I've read it, and like I said, I don't know if it's 100% true they're putting crack pipes in there. It's probably not.
That sounds like there was sarcasm involved.
But they are giving away these kits.
Yeah.
So, but I still think it's bullshit. So that's just my opinion. Weed industry.
Yeah.
Big money.
Yeah.
People getting hired like crazy.
Yep.
Who's some of the top employers right now?
Well, we've got an article about who's hiring in the weed industry and America's top employers. Do you want to get a job in the cannabis industry? These guys are hiring. As of 2021, the legal cannabis industry already employs around 321,000 people part-time. The data taken from the 2021 Leafly Jobs Report, produced together with Whitney Economics, gives hope to the thousands who have suffered from job loss and layoffs as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. The report states that job growth doubled in 2020 and only continues to grow. There is no doubt that the cannabis industry is one of the fastest growing in the country. It now employs more people than electrical engineers, paramedics, and dentists. There has been a seismic shift of workers from retail and restaurants into cannabis, says Viridian Staffing Chief Executive of Cannabis Recruiting, Kara Bradford, to the Washington Post. There's a sense that this is a booming industry that's fun and interesting, with a lot of opportunities to move up quickly. She adds that the hourly rate in dispensaries ranges from $12 to $15 an hour, but the difference is that, unlike in a warehouse or retail job, entry-level employees can easily move up in a few months to take over specialized positions. Aside from a great opportunity to learn and scale, cannabis employees can enjoy better work-life balance. The Great Resignation has been fueled by thousands of people who quit their jobs looking for better work-life balance, improved salaries, and the feeling of being valued in the workplace. There are many other benefits to working in the cannabis industry. It provides stable employment for as long as you're good at what you do, and there will always be lots of work to get done. The industry only continues to grow, so cannabis jobs aren't going to go anywhere. Additionally, the pandemic has proven that the cannabis industry is resistant to recessions, as authorities have deemed cannabis sales an essential service, even where other shops and businesses were forced to shut down at the height of COVID-19 pandemic. There's also many career options when you are from where you can pivot your career once you're in the industry. There are many ways to get your feet in the door, too. You can start as a bud tender, and then as soon as you get more valuable experience, become a manager. Professionals with marketing experience can lend their skills to companies and products that are in need of it. These are just some of the many ways people are shifting into the industry. Having said that, who are the top cannabis employers in the United States these days? MG Magazine has come up with a veritable list, so here are a few of them, in no particular order, that you may be interested to apply with. Bloom Farms is a cannabis company based in San Francisco, known for their famous Highlighter cannabis vapor pen. All their products are sustainably sourced and socially good is a big part of the company culture. They even have a 1-to-1 program where they donate a healthy meal to an individual or family in need for every product that is sold. 3C Farms, if you're interested in expanding your horizons into the world of cannabis cultivation, 3C Farms is a company to look out for. They've created an impressive portfolio of strains that have bred and grown themselves. Through specialized small batch indoor grows. They supply cannabis to coast dispensaries and other licensed retailers in California. Kova Software is a cannabis tech company, and they have a growing niche where there are all kinds of unique opportunities to work with them. Cannabis businesses face specific challenges when it comes to information technology, but Kova Software is among the leading companies that provide solutions in the form of point-of-sale interfaces. Their software has been designed to streamline operations and processes for retailers, and there are numerous employment opportunities for hardworking people. Papa and Barkley, renowned for being among California's top wellness brands, Papa and Barkley has an extensive line of products, including capsules, topicals, tinctures, and edibles. They're a fantastic company to work for if you want to branch out to retail and product. Their premium hemp is grown by American farmers under the sun, using organic principles as well as regenerative processes, so you'll also learn valuable information on cultivation. Then you've got Pax Labs. Pax is a brand synonymous to vapes, having pioneered some of the most innovative and groundbreaking devices over the last few years. Their portable pens cater to recreational and medical consumers of various needs and preferences, using cutting-edge technology that enable you to smoke anytime, anywhere. Their line of vape pens can be used with wax, herb, and oil. Considering that they are now a household name, years after launching their very first vaporizer in 2012, they are certainly one of the most successful cannabis companies out there. Vincent Sederberg, LLP. For those who want to get a foot into cannabis law, there's no bigger law firm than Vincent Sederberg, LLP. They've been making waves in this forefront since 2010, having helped with policy while assessing hemp and marijuana companies get further responsibly. Their lawyers have also been recognized as the nation's top law practitioners and have won several awards throughout the years. In addition, they provide legal counsel for all kinds of cannabis businesses in cultivation, research, distribution, and agriculture. So, get looking.
Yeah. Like we talked about before, we've talked about jobs before, and if you want to get it, go get it. You know, go back to school like I did and learn a little
or
bit.
You
looks
enter,
good on a resume.
like they're saying,
yeah.
you enter
start
as
at the bottom and work your way up.
You're not going to make much money in the beginning, but there's lots of opportunity to be had.
And I just said too, Missouri, 1 of 10 jobs last year was through cannabis. Huge,
Crazy.
Huge. So I'm pretty stoned. I took another hit. Purple Gelato got me good. I love it, love it, love it. Made me feel good. I haven't smoked in a while.
How does it feel?
Great.
Like a whole new experience?
Whole new world.
Oh boy.
No, but it's amazing. Smoking, love it. Still my favorite smoking flower. Nothing better. Sorry. International news. Albania Prime Minister Eddie Rama included a question about medical cannabis legalization in a citizen survey. Belize, Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, said a pending cannabis reform bill will be split into two parts. Thailand, hell yeah, signing all that shit, getting ready to go. Health Minister wants small cannabis growers to be able to conveniently register via an app. The Chilean Senate Public Security Commission's approved medical cannabis home cultivation legalization. Chile. UK lawmakers sent a letter asking colleagues to support rescheduling psilocybin. UK, man, you got to just legalize cannabis out there, man. To all my friends out there across the pond, man, we got to get that legalized there, or at least start getting better with medical and start doing stuff. And all my friends in the UK, man, I haven't heard from you in a while. Throw me some DMs. Throw me some emails. I miss you out there. Die the Dank. I haven't heard from you in a while, brother. Wherever you are out there in the world, I miss you. Especially all the grow you showed me, too. Badass, my man. Israel's cannabis industry pushes for legalization. The market would be unlimited, they said. Ooh. Australia's Creso Pharma makes 21 million CBD acquisition and enters the U.S. market. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about this article.
You're gonna spare everybody the singing.
Yeah, the singing.
You're
Speaking of sex, I haven't had any physical touch in 10 days, boy. Woo! Getting a little crazy over here.
I better watch out. I've got an article here about cannabis revving up your sexual drive. Maybe you don't need any cannabis today, Mr. Weedman. The study, according to Spanish researchers, people who use weed have better sex than those who use booze.
I agree.
Don't they call it sloppy sex when you're like shitty, wasted?
Nobody likes sloppy
wasted,
sex. Sloppy.
Yeah, drunk sex.
But weed sex?
Yeah. In a special Under the Covers report, a new study from Spain has found cannabis improves desire, arousal, and orgasms. According to research published in the journal Healthcare, researchers wrote, "Our findings indicate that young people who use cannabis frequently, regardless of gender, have better overall sexual function." This isn't the first study to link an improved sex life with cannabis. Past research has shown that people who use cannabis have more sex, and those who use CBD and other products report improvement in sexual experiences. Experts also note how weed enhances intimacy. Cannabis versus alcohol in the bedroom. To study the impact of cannabis on sex, researchers worked with 185 female and 89 male subjects from January through June of 2020. Each person who participated in the study ranged from 18 to 30 years old. Over 6 months, the researchers found that cannabis users scored higher than non-users in sexual functioning, arousal, and orgasm.
Oh, yeah.
Those who used cannabis the most scored even higher than moderate users. The study also reported that these findings were similar for men and women. Alcohol, on the other hand, did not have a significant impact when it came to improving sexual function or experience, the study found. Why? The researchers delved into that issue too. So why does cannabis make sex better? The study, led by researchers from the University of Almeria and the Almeria Health District, noted that past research has found cannabis use enhances sex for several reasons, including heightened perceptions, time distortion, relaxation, and decreased inhibition. They also wrote that women in past studies have reported more cannabis use showed higher sexual function and desire, arousal, orgasm, and satisfaction. It also lessened inhibitions and reduced pain. The researchers found that sexual function improved in young people who used cannabis and only moderately consumed alcohol in the new study. This improvement is usually associated with a reduction in anxiety and shame, which facilitates sexual relationships, they wrote. The researchers also noted that cannabis and alcohol use could lower the self-discipline that is needed to avoid engaging in more unsafe sex. They called for more education for young people on the importance of practicing safe sex in all cases. So, lots of booze and a little weed, not so good. A little bit of cannabis, or maybe a little bit of alcohol and a lot of weed, good. No alcohol and a lot of weed, or average, really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? I think that was the conclusion.
I agree with that.
Something like that.
I agree with that conclusion.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Here's what I'm going to say. When you're drunk sometimes you might not be making the best decision that
Are you
night.
talking to me?
No, I'm just talking in
just
general.
in general?
Yeah,
I was
just
like,
in general.
wait a minute.
Not about you.
Where are we going here?
You might not make the best decision when you're drunk. You might have not have wanted to do that, or maybe it was not what it was to be expected when you do alcohol. When you do cannabis, you think more clearly and you can make better decisions, and you could say yes, you could say no. It's more sensual. It's more, I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah.
Sex between
you don't lose
cannabis.
your ability to have self-control when you smoke.
There it is. Thank you, Mrs. Weedman.
You're welcome.
Thank you for putting the thoughts in my
There's no
mouth.
blackout high.
No, right.
Or you're not gonna or if you got too high, the last thing you're doing is trying to get sexy with somebody. So you're not in that situation.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. Experiment with cannabis.
And sex.
Yes. There you go.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day to everyone out in the world. Get your
Smoke some weed.
Yeah, get the person you love something. Even if you're not with somebody, get your mom something
Edible
nice.
chocolates.
Yeah, get your mom something. Get your grandma something. I don't know. Get your sister something.
Oh, wait a minute. We're talking about sex right now.
We were talking about Valentine's Day.
Oh.
We stopped sex talk.
But yeah.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
It's just a great day. Flowers for everybody.
Tell people you love them.
Give them joints. When I mean flower, give them flower. Give them joints.
Pre-rolls.
Yeah, in a card
Little
that says,
cute little bud.
It says weed and you are my love language.
Oh, that's cute. This bud's for you.
Oh.
With a little heart around it. Get cute.
If anyone knows how to roll a heart joint, that'd be pretty great. Like you do the heart and then a little mouthpiece at the end, and it's shaped as a heart, and you light it at both ends.
That'd be a big joint.
If someone out there could do that, send me a DM and a pic. I would love to see it, and I'll post it on all my social media if someone could do that out there. A joint heart.
I've seen Christmas trees and
Yeah,
menorahs.
we've seen a lot of different stuff. Planes,
Godzillas.
cars, yeah. But
so someone can make a heart.
I'm sure there is. If someone out there can do it, send me pics. I'll post it all over my social media, and I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Love for all, weed for all. NFL awards $1 million to study cannabis pain management, concussion protection for players. And we all know we've talked about concussion and cannabis and how it helps in pain management. I think this is great for the NFL to do this, especially for the retired players that gave their all on the field and came out with bad concussions. I mean, it would have helped a lot of players out there. One I can name off the top of my head, and that's Junior Seau, one of the best linebackers of all time. And that I think cannabis could have helped him. And he had a ton of concussions, and he wound up committing suicide. So I think it would have helped him tremendously. So good for you, NFL. I'm proud of you doing that. And the Super Bowl is coming up this weekend. Who do you like, Mrs. Weedman? I want to see the Cincinnati Bengals win.
Well, I do too, because we have a local, a local resident, on one of the busier streets by our home. There is a family that is a Bengals
for years.
Obsessed family forever.
There's not been
their car is wrapped in Bengals.
Their house is
gear.
wrapped in
Their
Bengals
house
stuff.
is wrapped year round. There's big lawn people, ornaments. That's all Bengals. The guy wears Bengals jerseys every day. He's got tattoos.
That would be the biggest reason why I want to see him.
I know. So
and plus
the neighborhood's
they're big
rooting for the
underdog.
Bengals now.
Yeah,
because we just want to see that guy so happy.
He'll run down the street naked. Woo!
Well,
Woo!
he's probably tattooed in a full Bengal costume, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were laughing because all of our neighbors were posting pictures of his house and talking about him and stuff like that. Because
He made the
years-
local, not even the
Yeah.
local, he made Chicago news.
Yeah, huge. So I hope they win. Should be a good Super Bowl. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm very stoked about it also because some of my favorite hip hop artists.
Yeah, halftime
is going to be. I mean, you got Dr. Dre, you got Snoop D-O Double G, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige.
I think Snoop Dogg on his Instagram posted something to the effect of, "I heard there's a football game after my concert on Sunday." It's going to be good.
So I think I'm so excited about seeing the halftime show. I haven't been this excited since Prince.
That was a good one.
That was
too.
the last exciting halftime show that I was. I mean, Rolling Stones was good too, but Prince, and then last before that was probably Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson was great.
Yeah, when the whole malfunction happened, got everybody excited.
She was good.
No, she was awesome, but I haven't been this excited since Prince.
Yeah.
And I'm fired up to see what they're going to do on stage because they get like 15 minutes to perform. So it's going to be a show.
Fun.
Oh, my God. And I mean, you got Dr. Dre who got them all in to his label and got them all started. So it's going to be pretty cool watching
Snoop Dogg just bought out
Death Row.
Death Row this week.
Came back to where he left when he left. You know, when he broke out and left them for a hot minute. But he's back and hopefully he's going to have some fun with that. You know, and so good for them. I'm excited. Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to cook and eat and be merry and drink some beers and smoke some fat doinks. Couldn't ask for anything better. Just you and I, because I still can't really go out around people. So just
you can.
and I.
You just have to wear a mask.
That's true. Reggae punk legend Sublime announces new California cannabis brand. I love Sublime. You love Sublime.
I do.
I mean, I remember hearing the first time Sublime, like 91, 92, 93, I think, when first time I heard Sublime. I think it was 92. Oh my goodness. Changed my world listening to that music. I mean, it was California reggae, hip hop-ish, funk, talking about cannabis. You know, like awesome. You know, when I was living in Florida and we were listening to them, you know, back in the early 90s, we were excited. You know, and I think it was in your car we at least played that CD. Yes, CD at least once a day for a long time. So, yeah, good for them. Wish the lead singer was still alive. I wonder what kind of music they still would have created. So, God rest his soul. Here's something really cool. Cannabis icon Willie Nelson is doing an ad for Comfort with Skechers, but he's going to be wearing a shirt that says legalize on it, but it's legalize comfort, not legalize cannabis. So there is a subliminal message in there, which I think is awesome. And the artist will be making the not so subtle case for a policy change in a Skechers commercial set to air during the Super Bowl on Sunday. The shoe company has frequently presented commercials at the football event, but this one marks a significant cannabis moment. In the commercial, it specifically avoids explicit mentions of cannabis, but strongly implies that the plant is the subject. Nelson says he spent years advocating for legalization. The one thing that can bring comfort to millions is Skechers. So you see, Skechers should be legal. The artist donning a shirt with legalized slogan says, before being cut off by the director who responds, I don't think Skechers are illegal anywhere. But to feel so good, I just assume the man made them illegal, Nelson described, with an on-screen Chiron. The activist and the comfort expert says viewers are left to connect the dots to the cannabis for themselves. So, no, the director says, not even a little legal. Like, you can wear them to concerts, but not to kids' soccer games, Nelson asked. You can wear Skechers anywhere, the director says. Well, pass the Skechers, Nelson says. The ad ends with an on-screen logo and says, Skechers, legalized comfort. And why I read the whole entire thing, because you never know what happens with commercials on major networks. They might find out about this and they might cancel it. So I read it to you. Go Willie Nelson for balls in it out on a commercial wearing legalize. We all the cannabis community, all you stoners, burners, and potheads out there would have known what it meant anyway, because Willie Nelson is wearing it. So, you know, go Super Bowl Sunday. Hope everybody around the world can watch it and smoke some big fat doinks, drink a beer or drink a glass of wine, have some great food, whatever you eat on Super Bowl Sunday, dips, chips, chains, and whips, whatever you do is all you, and go Cincinnati Bengals. Go Cincinnati Bengals. For all my friends out there in Ohio, go Bengals, baby. Sorry, LA, I love you. I've had a good time when I've gone out there, but I just want to see an underdog win the Super Bowl. Even though Matt Stafford, I'd like to see him win one because he deserves it, playing in Detroit for so long and just couldn't get to the Super Bowl, you know. And but I would like to see him win it. But to see Cincinnati win, they haven't been in the Super Bowl in 33 years, and just, oh man, it'd be a party on 99th Street with that guy over there by his house. Mrs. Weedman, you got anything else to say?
No.
Nothing?
I got nothing.
I'm glad to be back, everybody. Fully energized, fully stoked to you know, it was rough. When we were supposed to do the episode on Monday, that's normally when we do it, and I was just like antsy. I was like, I want to do the show. I can't wait to do the show. And I had to wait all the way to Friday to do it. So I love you all out there in the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the DMs. Reach out to us at Weedman420 Chronicles on Instagram. Reach out for us on Weedman420 Pod. Say hello to Dive Boy. Weedman420 Chronicles at gmail.com. Weedman420 Chronicles on TikTok. And also Weedman420 Chronicles space Chronicles No, Weedman 420 space
Chronicles
on YouTube. And hopefully you're enjoying that cool video Little's made for us. We love you all out there in the world. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.